Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community and neighborhoods. And now from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. Dorothy, we're in the last month of the year.
I know, where has this year gone?
And we're ending our, hard to believe, our 10th year.
Scary thought, isn't it?
Of doing the show. First year and a half, for the first 2 years, was nothing other than real estate.
Uh-huh.
We turned over to All Things Moore County, which opened up the topics that we could talk about, and we've had 10 years worth of shows about nonprofits, shows about mentoring, coaching, and all the things that, make Moore County a great place to live. Today, we're going to go back at the end of the year, and we're going to have a real estate show, which we haven't done too much of lately.
No, we haven't.
But this one is a feel-good story.
Okay.
It's about some friends of mine who moved here from Plano, Texas, and purchased a home by the Kirby Construction Group, although I know that you guys have another company that you go under. And there's a bit of a history here. I'm going to just very briefly introduce, as we go around the table, Carrie Kirby, who is the broker at Premier Real Estate and the listing agent for the Kirby Construction Group. Her husband, Jacob, Jacob's brother, Matt, Linda Cipolla, and at the head of the table, Sal Cipolla. Over the 20 years that I've been in the business, people always talk about, well, how was your experience? Was it a proactive transaction? Was it a dysfunctional transaction? Were people upset? Were they happy? Were they pleased? And this particular transaction had a lot of very strong and positive things. And the history goes back to, I'm going to guess it's 2003 or 2004 when I met you, Carrie. If you remember, Kirsten Foyles, who was a real estate attorney at the time at Thigpen and Jenkins,
yes,
she would call me, and I used to work almost exclusively with Kirsten, and she would say, "Hey, Bill," you know how she would talk like a little kid?
Yeah.
Okay. She'd say, "Hey, Bill, you have to meet Carrie. I've known her family forever, and she is thinking of getting into the real estate business." Do you remember what year that was?
I believe it was like 2006.
Oh,
is
it
when I
was
got my
2006?
Yeah.
That's just
It
when you
seems
got your
longer,
life. So 2006 seems like yesterday, but it's really 13 years.
Yeah, 13 years.
So in 13 years, you have more than come a long way, and I've been able to kind of watch you from a distance. And yet here we were 13 years later from the time we met, we got together, we talked shop a little bit.
We did.
And lots of things have happened to you since 2006.
Yes.
When did you and Jacob get married? What year was that?
2007.
Okay. So
March of 2007.
Okay. And Jacob, you were at that time working with your brother or with your dad. Tell me the brief.
Sure. Matt and I started more or less on our own in 2004, building houses. Back then, I was heavily involved with the day-to-day construction, using my hands a little bit more than I do now. But Carrie had come along. I knew right away that she was going to be with us for a long time. And so I encouraged her.
You better say that.
Yeah. So I encouraged her to get her real estate license, just knowing that it would be something, if she put her mind to, would be succeed in it. It was easy to tell that she had what it took to succeed in real estate.
Yeah. So you've been in the business 15, 16 years.
Yeah, coming up on it. It's hard to believe. So, and we're second generation, like you said. So we have really been doing this since 1978, I believe. Is that right, Matt?
That's right.
So in 1978, our father started a construction company here in town.
Right.
And we he did a lot of commercial stuff throughout the years, and he ended up getting out of it, moving away in that 2002 2003 time period, right before Matthew and I moved down and started really just kind of taking where he left off.
Where did you guys move down from?
Matt was up in Raleigh at the time, and I'd come from Fayetteville.
Okay. So you guys have been working together, Matt, since 2004?
2004, that is correct.
So
Yes,
you
we-
decided to start your own business, or just sort of inherit and take over and build what your dad
yeah,
started?
It more accurate would be starting our own.
Okay.
There's certainly an aspect of taking over and inheriting a lot of what
Sure.
Dad did in the context and the area. But it's a totally new business and a new vision and a new way of doing things that me and Jacob had.
Yeah.
Put it together.
So I've been in the business since 1999, and so I've seen. I have maybe a better perspective than I'd like to admit, and there's so many people in our business who have been in it such a short period of time. So I knew your dad a little bit. I lived actually on Quincy Place, right next door to. Was it your grandparents?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Grand.
And lived there for a short time and had first heard the name. That's 1999. Over the years, we've seen all the ups and the downs in the market, and in the last 10 years, we've seen a huge surge in military growth, demographic shifts, where the Pinehurst, Southern Pines, Whispering Pines, Aberdeen area is not just a golf resort anymore, but it's a home for a lot of different generations of families. And we've seen the builders with the spikes and the recession we had in 2008 kind of retool. But I've seen you guys from afar do nothing but evolve and grow and keep one step ahead of what's going on in the market. People today are always talking about craftsman style homes and building homes for first time buyers. Your homes, some of them are craftsman style, but a lot of them are some of the most refreshing designs. The custom homes that you build, they don't look like some of the cookie cutter new construction homes. There's always something about a Kirby home that has either an eclectic look or a beautiful visual look that is so appealing and so different from a lot of what the market tends to offer. So kudos to you. I don't know where.
Thank you.
Well, you agree. So I don't know where the inspiration came from, but so from my perch seat, I see that when we show your homes, we always look forward to it, which kind of brings me to Sal and to Linda, who I met, who are moving here from Plano, Texas. And I didn't know if, Sal, if you wanted to hear a little bit about the background, but when we went to look at this home in Pinewild that they built, Linda, your wife, said something like it was number one on our list. It was our top choice just from the pictures that we saw, and that she was sort of predisposed to like it the most.
Yes.
Is that
Definitely. That's accurate. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe that that was her number one home.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was still under construction when we
Right.
saw the pictures, I guess the pictures are out there in Zillow. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of other homes she had showed me. And she kept saying, no, this one's the number one. Yeah.
All
So-
from the pictures.
all from the pictures.
And
yeah.
that's how people find their homes before they ever get to Moore County, to get in the car with us and to go out and to
Exactly.
start kicking some tires.
Yeah.
How would you, the house is in Pinewild, don't have to give the address, but how would you describe the home? Because it's not, how would you describe the look of the home, the feel of the home? Because you all fell in love with it.
Yeah. One thing I have to say, it's the setting is just beautiful.
Right.
Okay, the area where the house is, it's quiet. I mean, we're wondering, is anybody else living in the neighborhood? That's how quiet it is. We came from something that was like a barking dog next door, that kind of an area. Then in the interior of the house, it's just top of the line, everything.
Right.
Yeah, from countertops to shower. I mean, everything is just top of the line. So that's and then we got to a point where we were able to pick out a few things, towards the end, the colors and stuff like that, and it goes with the color schemes that we liked, so those things made it, very pleasing to our eyes, and hoping everybody else sees it the same way we did.
How many homes in your life have you purchased?
This is number 5. Yeah.
So when you first saw the home, it was about 85% complete.
Yeah.
And you said you had a few things left to pick out, but I think the most impressive thing about that was the fact that what the Kirbys had picked out for the home just fit your eye so beautifully that there wasn't a need to say, oh man, we have to go back and I wish we could change this or I wish we could change that. That's how well put together and integrated the whole design was.
Yes, it was, yeah. And we liked every room layout too. I mean, that was, you got a lot of the bedrooms on one side, the master on the other side of the main area. The layout of the openness of the kitchen into the living room, was very nice. Yeah. So, all that, there's hardly anything else we needed except for picking some colors and picking, I guess that was it. Colors, really. Even to the landscaping. I mean, we didn't even have to say anything about the landscaping. Everything was just what we wanted.
Right. The house, it fit your eye.
Oh, definitely.
It had a very civilized, and you all described that home in Pinewild as a farmhouse style.
Correct.
Modern farmhouse.
Modern farmhouse.
I think it hits all those points. It has a craftsman element to it. It has a farmhouse element to it. It's not something. It's refreshing. It's something that you don't see out there. And Carrie, you were telling me from the time that Sal and Linda saw the home, in our first conversation, you warned me. You said, Bill, we have a lot of people who are looking at this home.
We did. We had a lot of people. It was really quite crazy how many calls we would get daily on this specific home. So, but I'm really happy you guys got it.
Oh, me too.
So
we are definitely, yeah.
When you met Sal and Linda, especially when you met Linda, it seemed like you guys clicked, and so sometimes if you get personalized with the buyer, sometimes you root for them. Like, I hope this one works.
And I mean, Sal and Linda they're wonderful people, and we
thank you
loved working with them.
Yeah,
and you too, of course. So we really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So you put your heart into it, and I feel like the Cipollas felt like they had a concierge staff on hand from day one with a ton of accountability. And Jacob, kudos to you because you carried through everything. I remember the walkthrough. I was very impressed with the walkthrough.
Oh, me too.
He brought. Why were you impressed? I'll tell you why.
Every single question I had, he took the time and patience to answer those. I mean, some of them to some folks may have been, why is somebody asking me, how high can this water heater go to? That kind of deal. He even went downstairs and showed me, here's how you make it warmer and stuff. Things like that, the details. I hope I didn't bore him too much with all the questions I had, but I had tons, And it just made me feel like, wow, I'm buying a house here, and I'm feeling really good about that purchase.
Right.
The other component of buying a house, and this is credit for Carrie here, was, she's the seller's agent,
Right.
right?
That's right.
Did not feel like that.
Huge.
I
That's
used to have a
huge.
license years ago selling real estate in Texas.
You never
in Plano,
told-
Texas.
you
I
never-
never told
wow.
you that. Yeah, okay. Years ago. Yeah. Right?
Yikes.
So I know good agents and I know bad agents. And I know sometimes, when there's a seller and a buyer's agent,
Right.
there's situations where the seller's agent, especially if they're representing me, the buyer,
Right.
it's not going to go well.
Because they're really
Yeah.
not representing
They're-
you if
yeah.
they're the seller's
right,
agent.
Right. I felt like there was the relationship with both Jacob and Carrie was so seamless. It was just,
Right.
I guess that's the word I want to use right now, but I'll think of maybe a better. It was smooth, and I felt like she was on my side too.
Right.
A lot of times. So of course, we followed all protocol that you're supposed to.
Right.
For real estate.
She is on your side, I promise.
I am.
If I try to get out of line, she snaps me back into place.
Yeah. So I mean, but you don't always get that with a seller's agent. Sometimes you even get a seller's agent that's like,
We
crazy.
want to talk a little bit about that because of maybe your experience selling your home prior to you moving up here. But I think what you were saying is there was trust
yes,
with the other side,
yes,
Right.
definitely. Mm-hmm.
and I felt it,
Mhm.
and I think we talked a little bit about it, and I had no problems or qualms with Carrie or Jacob reaching out directly to you, and we all got copied on email, so we
Right,
were sort
yeah.
of all like a team. Wish it was that way all the time, Carrie.
It is. It's teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal, Matt and Jacob, and my goal for all of the transactions is for you to feel comfortable and happy, and that you can trust us. So it makes me so happy to hear that you guys felt that way, because that really is ultimately our goal.
And isn't it a question, ask you, Matt, and ask you, Jacob, isn't it a pleasure to work with a seller, a buyer that is intelligent, that is caring, that is cerebral, that is highly organized, and asks the detailed questions because they give you an opportunity to really step up your game by, crossing off everything on the to-do list?
Absolutely. I mean, when they come into town, because they were gone quite a bit, they knew exactly what they wanted, knew the questions to ask, and were open to responses to get back to us quickly. It's always makes our job a lot easier when people tend to waver or go back and forth. It makes things a lot more difficult.
Is it true to say that there was an appreciation that you got from the Cipollas when you had all these communications, as opposed to sometimes a buyer will come in with the point of view, hey, this is for me, and it's a little bit adversarial. Mm-hmm. That was not the case here.
No, and that's another aspect to it. It goes a lot smoother when we're working together.
Yeah.
A lot of times, folks will come with the attitude of, what can I get, or what angle can I work to get these guys to give me something for free, or to just to negotiate every little tiny aspect, from a day-to-day basis, to kind of micromanage the situation.
Right.
And that was not the case at all.
Right. My guess is you guys, if you could clone a transaction, it might be this one.
100%.
She's right.
Lately, it would be, yes, for sure.
We're going to come back in the second set. We want to talk to Sal and Linda about their journey here, their reasons why, and kind of personalize them a little bit, and then get back to you guys and talk a little bit more about some of the things you're doing down the road here in Moore County. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our second set of All Things Moore County. We're speaking with Kirby Construction Group, Carrie Kirby of Premier Real Estate, and Sal and Linda Cipolla, who just purchased a home in Pinewild from them. And we're kind of recounting the story, the process. And in doing so, Carrie, we're trying to also cover some of the dynamics of what realtors do when they work together, not as opposite, but as team players.
It's a team.
Right?
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Everything flows.
When Sal and Linda came up and we started looking at homes, and here's a confession. And Sal, since you told me you had your real estate license and never told me that before, okay, now that's an important bit of information. and so now I'm wondering.
But it's not an active license. Okay, so I couldn't ask you for a commission or anything like that. Okay, yeah.
But so you then obviously had a bias, or you had a critique of me and how it was handled.
Exactly.
Okay, good. And you're here, so I feel like it's.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
okay.
still here. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So here's the feeling that I had when Linda. I think we talked on the phone or we emailed, and we talked about 48 Pinewild, and I looked at it, and I saw that Carrie was a listing agent. So me, very quietly, made me very happy. Because sometimes, Carrie, don't you look at her smile? Don't you look forward to sometimes working with certain people on a transaction as opposed to going, ugh?
Absolutely.
Right?
Because I know when I'm working with you, we're going to, no matter what,
right,
we're going to work as a team.
Right.
And it creates a good feel for our clients, sellers and buyers.
Right. And so I felt like I was quietly rooting for you to gravitate towards that home. We looked at a bunch of homes, and there were great things about some of the homes we looked at, but I always got the sense that the two of you were not 100% on the same page on some of the other homes. And that's probably why you're married, right?
Yes.
Okay. But when we got to that home, it seemed like you were both on the same page. I would say, Linda, you first, and Sal, you were right behind.
Yes.
And then it all worked out.
It all worked out. Yes, it did. Yeah. Some of the other homes we saw that I really liked, there was different things about them that I liked. Mm-hmm. But I gravitated, towards the Pinewild home.
Right.
Because I saw, number one, it was new.
Right.
The others were not. I don't think we saw one other new home, but it didn't meet our expectations. And that was also, I think, in Pinewild, in the Pinewild neighborhood. But it didn't meet what we needed, And, but the other homes, older homes, I had some questions about things like sump pumps, not sump pumps, what do they call those things? Septic tanks. There, you remember now. Yeah. And wells and what have you. So those kinds of questions steered me away from those a little bit. And then Linda steered me away from those as well. Yeah.
And she steered you away for different reasons.
Yeah.
She was... To me, she was more focused on layout.
Yes.
Layout was number one for her. Mm-hmm. She was very visual. And you were obviously visual, but you were also looking at the mechanics of the home,
right.
The ease of operation. So there was a civility to 48 Pinewild in that layout that
yes.
I know caught your eye immediately. I think when we saw the pantry... I think it was they had us at the pantry, off the kitchen, and the open family living area that I think mostly appealed to you because I think you're also thinking of your family, your daughter and son-in-law, and your two grandchildren.
Yes, exactly.
And envisioning them in the house.
Yes.
And I remember, Linda, there was one home in particular. You loved the fit and the finish of the home. It was a brand new construction home, also in Pinewild. But the living space on the main level, off the kitchen, was not that as large, and the home had more of a vertical presence, so you didn't have the wide expanse that this particular home has. It was interesting to watch the both of you. And as a broker, Carrie, it's not up to us.
That's right.
It's what the client is interested in, and we just sort of listen and try to take their temperature.
That's right.
Right. So you got to meet them when their temperature hit like a high fever pitch, and
Yeah.
it was easy, right? Just getting together,
Absolutely.
and the chemistry came for free.
Yes. It was we had a connection instantly with you guys, for
Right.
sure.
And I had a bias about sellers agents, a little bit. I mean, being
This is all
part-
coming out for the first time. I swear, I didn't know this.
I mean, I did until I met Carrie and Jacob.
Sweet.
Honestly,
That's nice.
Okay,
Thank you.
it didn't change it on all sellers agents, just on her. Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, because you're cautious. Okay,
Right.
You don't. I don't know. I've had some bad deals.
Experiences.
Yeah, experiences, especially even buying a house one time. Our agent, which was helping us buy a house in Plano back in '93, turned out we thought she was working on our behalf, but yet she was working on behalf of the seller.
How so?
How so?
Yeah.
She was a sub-agent of the seller. So when we told them what price we're probably going to go up, the highest would go on this house, we could never get off that mark. Okay? And little did we know that she had a duty to the seller.
Was this a dual agency situation?
It was a dual agency situation. And this is before it became into law in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she told, but she talked me into getting my license. And while I was getting my license, and getting my license was very easy because I have a master's degree in business.
Right.
And all I had to do is take a few extra courses, a law course, and a few other extra courses.
Right.
And then I got my license. But in taking those courses, I found out I just got screwed.
Right. I
Okay.
think that happens with a lot of people
Yeah.
when they take the real estate licensing classes
Mhm.
and they're getting into the business. They draw back on their experiences of buying or selling a home on their own.
Yeah. So, and then in the business itself, I found out how cutthroat it could be.
Right.
Unfortunately, it
Right.
is that way. And Linda could attest that to, she told me, she says, this is not the business for you because you're too honest. I would actually steer people away from property that I probably could have sold them because I felt uncomfortable about it.
So in some, this is all news to me, and if had I known all this, I would have done a whole outline on just this topic.
Yeah, this was only supposed to be 10 minutes, right?
I would have, but
Yeah.
so it begs a question. In your experience, then here in North Carolina, we hope that we have sort of helped reverse that perception.
Yeah, definitely on this dealings here.
Yeah.
I mean, buying the house in Pinewild. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm so glad to hear that.
me too.
Yeah, but on both you folks. Yeah,
Me too.
yeah, both buyer and seller agent. It was so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And like I said before, I mean, that's really important to us, to be honest and for people to feel like they can trust us because it is a big decision for people, and you want people to leave having a different perspective on, brokers than that perspective. I mean, Bill knows. We
Yes.
get a bad rap sometimes.
We talk about it often, and Bill's mentioned it, the changing demographic. And with that, in the last 10 years, building has increased quite a bit. And with that, we've had a lot of builders who build 500 to 1,000 homes a year come into town, and they have their real estate agents and incentives for those real estate agents to sell their listed houses. So like you're saying, the dual agency aspect of it. And, you know, we look at it as, we get it, they want to sell it, and they want to, you know, sell a house they have listed. And we try to steer the exact opposite. You know, I know Carrie does. She wants truly to work for the best interest of the buyer.
Dual agency is, I feel, hard, and it's not something I necessarily love to do, because you want to be fair and you want to do right by both parties, and so
and not advise either
correct.
party. Right.
It can be hard.
You guys, we're going to go over. I know we have to wind down, but I don't want to wind down yet. So your approach is more of a boutique approach, and it's a boutique approach whether you're selling a home that you've built that's $325,000, or whether it's $675,000. I've seen that, and you guys do span those parameters.
That's right.
Because there's a market at both price points.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Now we, in the last few years,
Yeah.
and we can talk about this in a minute, we're gearing towards, and hopefully it continues to stay around, is a slightly higher end market, you know, above 500.
Right.
Because with price increases, those builders I've talked about a minute ago are in that 300 to 400 price point,
Right.
and that's a price point and people we don't necessarily want to compete with on a day to day.
One of the advantages to working with Kirby Construction, the kind of homes that they build don't have a lot of competition. And in working with a lot of the younger buyers today, who sometimes are more entitled than I would like to admit, they want new. They want to feel good. They want beadboard. They want level 2 granite. They're not going to get it. They want wide moldings. But they don't think about long term. They don't think about the value. And if you're buying a new construction home in a subdivision where you have a lot of competition, well, you lose the ability to control the value on your home, because you can only do so much, and you're dependent on your neighbors and hoping that their transactions on their properties maintain the values, but you really can't upgrade.
Right.
So you guys are trying to stay above all that.
Trying to, yes.
Yeah, and you just keep trying, because you're gonna
Right.
because it's the right thing to do. We're gonna wind down in this set and come back, but we didn't get to speak about your granddaughters and your daughter. The reason you moved here from
Right.
Plano, you moved here to be closer to your family.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you tell us that?
Well, I retired back in 2017.
Right.
And we decided that, they were living in Colorado Springs.
Right.
So we kept visiting, and then when they started having children, or my daughter and son-in-law, we were kind of got pushed out of their house, and we actually bought a small house in Colorado Springs
Right.
to be in their neighborhood.
Right.
So we're going to fast forward to 2019, around March, April timeframe. They said, we're going to get an assignment in probably at Fort Bragg, or maybe even Camp McCall. So we said, okay, now we got 2 houses to sell. The house in Colorado went like that very quickly. The house in Texas we put on the market, and it took, what was it, about 70 days, to sell.
He says that. He says that
Yeah,
like 70
yeah.
days is a long time.
Well, when you're told right up front that this house is going to sell this weekend when we first put it on the market,
Right.
your expectations are high. And, we got people coming in, and we got cash buyers and all this. We kept hearing all this positive, but nothing came to fruition, until the end. Dual agency came to help out in the end, because one of the agents that were doing a showing in our house, actually working for the broker,
From the company that
Yeah,
listed your
right.
property.
he had a client,
Right.
and so we had to sign that document that says we are allowing the dual agency.
Okay.
And so they, that agency they sold and bought our house.
Right. But
Okay.
that puts your antennas up.
Yes.
Because it was dual agency.
Yes, and that was years ago. I got hit.
Yeah.
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 But bottom line, we got out of that house. We were
Yeah.
happy to get out of that house because
Yeah.
it made it easier for us to get here.
Yeah.
Now, so we're grandparents that are right next to our grandkids. Actually,
Did you meet his 2 granddaughters?
Yeah.
I didn't have an opportunity
Oh,
to,
you
but I
gotta
would love
meet
to.
'em. You definitely gotta meet them.
As different as night and day. What are the ages?
5 and 3. Yeah. And,
Such great ages.
Yeah, Katerina, or Kat, she's in school right now. We might have to pick her up at noon.
Yeah.
And then
Might
me-
have to or get to.
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to pick her up. Yeah. And then Mia's home with her mom, but we see them quite often, almost daily.
As different as night and day.
Yeah.
And both
Yeah.
adorable. We're going to come back in the third set. This is All Things Moore County, talking with the Cipollas and the Kirby Construction Group. Welcome to our final set of All Things Moore County. This has been an enjoyable show. It's kind of a celebration, Carrie, a little bit about our business and how we work,
Absolutely.
and especially with Sal's perspective, which we did not know about.
I love it.
It makes it even better.
That's right.
And I will tell you, it was a pleasure, to work with both of you. And in our business, it's great that we get to pick and choose our friends and people that we get to know, and vice versa. So in that regard, it sort of comes full circle.
Yeah.
And I do want to say, since I was here in '99, and I did live next to Matt and Jacob's grandparents for a short period of time, I had a little bit of a background on them. But I will have to say to you, your father should be very proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, he
I
real-
agree.
Right? What
100%.
what you guys do, I mean, we know when stuff stinks, and we know when stuff is smooth and easy and honest. And so working with you from a broker's point of view on the other side of the table, the opportunities we've had over the years have always been above the fray, and very honest and trustworthy. And so you do, like Sal said, almost become like advocates for our clients. And it's a pleasure. So kudos to you guys. Tell us a little bit about where you guys are today and where you're hoping to be in the next 2 or 3 years, because you have a lot of people who are looking at your properties, your lots, your designs, and you're creating a lot of synergy.
Sure. You want me to talk, Jake?
Go for it.
Matt?
Sure. So where we are today and looking forward, I think we're in a good spot right now, right? Our area is in a good spot of growth, so there's business to be done, right? To where we are in a position where we get to choose what we want to do some, right? We don't have to take every job that comes across our desk. We don't have to do a lot of work we may not want to do. We're able to be a little bit choosy and a little bit picky.
Right.
And that puts us in a really good spot to work with people like these guys
That's
that
right.
we enjoy working with.
Right.
This business, and real estate's somewhat the same way, but it's tenfold for a builder, right? When you're working with people that you're not enjoying working with, it's a chore, and it is a drain, right? Particularly for Jacob.
These guys
Right.
are outspoken, but they're so nice about it.
No,
That's why he looks younger.
That's why I look young, because I stay away. And but the flip side is true, right? When you're working with people that you enjoy working with, like
Right.
it's actually a fun job. It's fun to get
Truly.
up and go to work
Yeah.
in the morning, right? So we're in a good spot right now. We're in a season where we're building homes for some good clients. We've had some really good clients buy some spec houses that we've been able to finish out, and that's an enjoyable experience for us. We've got a few clients that we're building custom homes for right now that are they're great people. And like you guys were talking earlier about it being a team. When you're on the same page, you're working together, you're building custom homes, you're finishing out spec homes, with people that are sharing your vision for the home, with people that trust what you're doing and you're not out to, get them, and you're working together. It's a fun job. It's a good spot to be. So that's where we find ourselves in right now. We're doing, it's about 50-50 spec homes and custom homes. And when we say spec homes, they're nice spec homes that people are often finishing off at
There's
the end.
spec homes with a lot of custom
Right.
quality to it. The houses on Campbell Street that
Sure.
you built are a case in point. It was in the historic section of Aberdeen, and these were craftsman-style homes, and there was a ton of quality in them. And you can also tell because now they're up to, I guess, 9 to 5 years old.
That's right.
And they turn very quickly on resale.
Right. It's one of our favorite projects. It was a lot of fun to do that project.
Hopefully, we'll get to do more of that. That is something we are always looking for is land development. We've done a couple of developments, Campbell Street being a small one, but that was very enjoyable project. With the growth of the town, it's a little bit harder than it was 15 years ago to find something like that, and also to get things rolling in town. So, but that door is never closed. We do love doing our own subdivisions. Finding lots is an issue in town right now.
Right.
The price of lots has gone up almost 100%, I would say, in the last 10 years. So inventory is definitely low. So there's always a struggle there. The developments that we do have are on the upper end of being built out from a percentage standpoint as far as lots available. So it's just going to be a struggle and also fun to see what the next 10 years holds for Moore County, for us, for the real estate side. We hope that we continue to stay blessed and with the changes that continue to come our way. We just hope that business stays good, really.
With the changing demographics
Yes.
and the average buyer getting younger, does that cause any concern for you in building higher end homes?
It does, and that's when we started out in 2004. Our primary focus was retirees who play golf.
Right.
Then after 2010, it became military first-time home buyers. Then once that market became saturated with competition, and also things around the country kind of improved, the economy improved, prices of homes and the opportunity to start servicing that a higher end clientele is opened back up, and we just hope that it continues then going that way. But yes, if that does dry up, it's always nerve-wracking to have 3 $600,000 spec homes out there.
Right. Where do you have a website?
We do. It's kirbycompanies.com.
So if people want to go on and start a search, they can look at some of the floor plans that you've done. Tell me what they're going to find on your website.
Sure. If you go to the website, you're going to see a lot of pictures, right? And you're going to see a lot about us. There's not a lot of floor plans just because since all our homes are custom, it would be a whole bunch of individual floor plans versus some other folks that say, these are our 4 house plans we build. We're more custom than that. So you'll see a lot of pictures, a lot of examples of the kinds of things we do.
Do you post testimonials?
We have some testimonials on there, don't we,
We
Carrie?
do.
You
We probably need to get more.
Yeah, I think, let's see, was it 6 months ago, we revamped the website, and it's still a work in progress. I'm still getting newer photos, uploaded. And so, yeah.
Which is, while we're so lucky to have Carrie, I will say that, she kind of took a hiatus for several years while she raised our 2 kids,
Babies.
who are now in
Not
school
babies.
full time. So she is able to play a larger role in some of those things that did get swept under the rug. As far as details like that, we'll
Yeah.
definitely be taken care of now.
Well, if you're looking for a testimonial, I would be more than happy to give you one. And even though we might be perceived as competitors, I perceive ourselves as partners.
I agree.
Because if it helps me advocate for my client more,
That's right.
it's very important who we work with and how it's all presented. Carrie, you're in this business now full throttle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the
Full throttle.
one of the coolest things about this show is that I get to come full circle and look back to 2006 when we first spoke about you, and then here you are today, 13 years later, just
You
being
were the
very
first
impressive.
person when I started to
Yeah.
take me on a listing appointment.
Yeah.
True. I mean,
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah. She shook her head and wanted to leave the county. No.
No, I didn't.
Sal and Linda, you've been in the house now not quite a month.
No,
You
no.
you just you
About
have,
the 2nd of November.
yeah, you're basically just getting out of the boxes and
Yes.
getting settled. But my guess is once you get settled, the more you discover about the home, the more joy, the more you're going to enjoy, and the holidays you're going to be ready for Thanksgiving, aren't you?
Yes.
Will you do a video and give it to them?
That's recorded.
Yeah. We'll be right. I don't know about the garage, but
We love this business,
Yeah.
and we love the fact that good partnerships can develop, and certainly with the Kirby Construction Company and Carrie and Sal, you and Linda, it's been a pleasure. To everybody, enjoy
Absolutely.
the holidays, and thanks for coming and joining us. This is All Things Moore County. Have a great week.